Hello, powerful. It's Lisa, your generative power coach. So I wanted to take today to talk about something related to vision and goal, just to give you a little more time to consider your vision and goal. Now, maybe you're off to the races and you've chosen a vision, you've chosen a goal, and you are moving along on it. So today I want to introduce the term appreciative inquiry. This is a technique that I learned in some of my coach training. I've done a lot of coach training, and it's also a term that's used in positive psychology. Appreciative inquiry refers to considering something that you've done really well in your life, or something that you did that you're proud of, something you appreciate about yourself, an accomplishment, something that you think about and you go, I did that. But I'm going to contradict myself now too. It doesn't have to be an accomplishment. It could have been something you tried and it didn't work out, but you're proud of yourself for trying and the steps that you took along the way. And it just turned out this wasn't the right thing for you at that time. So it's appreciative inquiry and it's self-inquiry. I'm inquiring within my own mind, within my body, within my power about something that I appreciate that I've done in the past. And I want to give you an example of that for myself. In 2014, I was diagnosed with breast cancer and I had a bilateral mastectomy and everything went really well. Thankfully, I had great doctors. I had great people caring for me, wonderful insurance. I was super fortunate on that front and I'm fine today. As I was going through my treatments and doing all the tests to figure out what was going on, I listened to a lot of podcasts. I like to put positive messages into my head, into my brain. And at some point I started thinking, wouldn't it be cool for me to have my own podcast? But I don't know how to do that. And who am I to do that? And I'm not going to go into how I actually went step by step and created the podcast. And trust me, there were a lot of steps to it, but I eventually did. And December 31st, 2015, I launched my podcast. So I had set a goal for myself to launch my podcast by the end of the year in 2015. So that's one of the things that I think back on. I think, oh, Lisa, there was the breast cancer diagnosis and having overcome that and done what I needed to do. But then I also think about all the steps that I took to create a podcast. And so that's something that I go to. Now, when you think back on your life and the things you've done and the things you've tried, it doesn't have to be as significant as creating a podcast. It can be a great moment when you did well from an academic perspective. It can be when you got up the nerve to ask somebody out on a date, or you rented your first apartment, you purchased real estate, you landed a job. Or if you didn't land a job, you did a great job in an interview. You performed really well in an interview, even if you didn't get the job. So think back on your life on something that you did really well. And think about what steps did you take to achieve that thing? And how did you prepare for that? And did you have support from other people? If you were to go back and do it again today, would you do it differently? That's not a big part of it, but it's just something to think about as you go forward with your vision over the next few weeks and your goal. Just know that you're strong and you can do things that seem really hard today, but we're going to take it step by step. I'm going to give you another example. And this is an example from Meg Daly, who you might not know of. And she created the Miami Underline. All right, so I said I launched my podcast at the end of 2015. And in 2016, I interviewed Meg Daly. And this was my 30 Ever Better podcast that I produced. The Miami Underline is 10 miles of park space. And it's called the Underline because it's under public transportation. And this used to be dead space. This was an unsafe area. It was not walkable, would not have been considered by any stretch of the imagination a recreational space. And what happened was in 2013, Meg was in an accident and she broke both of her arms. And she had a medical appointment and then was walking towards public transportation and realized that there was no good way to get to public transportation in Miami. Miami is not at all walkable. It's much more walkable now that we have the Miami Underline, but it wasn't walkable at all. So she was walking under a train track and thought, somebody needs to do something about this. And maybe that somebody is me. So in 2015, she created a foundation, and I think it was called the Friends of the Miami Underline. And she set forth this vision of creating recreational park space trails that people could use within Miami. And so that was 2015. Fast forward to 2024, the underline is thriving and it's still growing. I was in Miami last year and I saw some people playing basketball from afar. I was in Brickell. So the Miami underline starts in Brickell. If you know Miami at all, that'll mean something to you. And then it stretches out. I saw some people playing basketball and I thought, wow, that looks like a really cool area. What's going on over there? So I started walking towards it and I saw these signs for the Miami underline. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is Meg's vision come to life. This is so friggin' cool. So what is that? So she started thinking about this in 2013 and here it is 2024. So 11 years later, this vision has been realized through a lot of work. At one point she had over 1,000 volunteers. I bet she has a ton more now. She created partnerships with businesses, with the government. She did a ton of fundraising. She's put a ton of energy into this. And her vision has been fulfilled. And she's still very involved with it. You'll see if you look at the website, you can see that Meg's in these pictures. So I think this is such a great example of what we're doing now. She had this vision. How could I make Miami more walkable and livable? And in particular, how can I use this dead space and make it into something fun for people? She did a lot of research. Now, this might sound like the High Line in New York, and she was definitely inspired by the High Line in New York, and she went and talked to people there and learned from them. And there's a similar place in Atlanta as well, and I think other cities have these at point too. So she had this vision, and she created goals within that. First, one of the big steps was creating a foundation so that they could raise the money for it. She dedicated her time, and look, she made it happen. I want to read to you a couple of quotes from the podcast that I did with her. One is, she said, surround yourself with people who know more than you do and have fun. If you're not having fun, don't do it. Now, that doesn't mean every step of the way is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of work, but surrounding yourself with people who support you and who enjoy the same vision that you do, I think can be really, really important. Another thing she said to me is, every idea is a good idea. It can get better, so be willing to shape it. Don't be rigid, be flexible. Never lose your vision. Dream big, because people always try to chip away at your idea and make it smaller. Don't get discouraged, but be realistic. Meg also told me that she didn't have any background in doing this sort of partnership and in creating a physical space like this. But she used the skills that she already had. She was a business person. She knew how to bring people together. She knew about finances. And what she didn't know, she learned from other people, and she brought in partners and associates to help her with this. So keep in mind too that you're not on your own. You're going to build your community. You're going to have supporters around you already, but if you don't have the right supporters, you're going to find them. You're going to build your team, and that's going to help you to create your vision. Lesson learned there, and we can apply that to what we already know